All right. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for giving us a second. We were having a little technical difficulties. We had everything set up, and the best laid plans always go a little bit awry. But we are here, and we are excited to talk to you about Ballet Under the Stars. My name is Alexandra. I'm the Education and Community Engagement Manager for Ballet Arizona, and I have Ethan and Kate Loxtercamp with us tonight. But before we get going, I just want to have Kate and Ethan talk a little bit about their time at Ballet Arizona. So Ethan, can you tell us how long you've been with us and where you started?
I started here in Phoenix at the School of Ballet Arizona. I think in total, I've been with the organization for 13 or 14 years in some combination of in the school, studio company, company member. I've been around for a long time. It all kind of blurs together in the end.
And Kate, can you tell us?
I grew up in Minnesota, so I was at a pretty small school up there training, and then I trained at Maryland Youth Ballet for a while before I came down to Phoenix and joined Ballet Arizona Studio Company. And since then, I have been in the company for, I believe this is my sixth season here, sixth or seventh maybe. So it's been a while.
Well, thank you both for joining us tonight. It's really exciting that we are back and performing and getting to do this program again. I know it's been a long time since we've been able to do this, and we're all really grateful to get back into the swing of things. It's a program that's sort of Ballet Arizona's flagship community engagement program. It's something that community looks forward to every year, and it's a really great opportunity for people to experience ballet for the first time. But Ethan, can you tell us a little bit about your first time with Ballet Under the Stars? What was that like as a dancer?
My first time with Ballet Under the Stars, I think the first, okay, well, no, okay. The first Ballet Under the Stars I think I did something in studio company, and I have absolutely no idea what I did, so I'm going to pretend like that never happened. My first company performance for Ballet Under the Stars, we did Western Symphony, which is it's a fantastic ballet. The people out here love it. Cowboys, it's great, and it's a lot of fun. You always get a great crowd. It's a free performance. You get to see lots of people from the community, and it's a great way to kick off the season. Yeah.
And then Kate, can you tell us about your first experience with Ballet Under the Stars?
Yeah, the first time I performed Ballet Under the Stars was actually the first performance I had with Ballet Arizona, and it was the first performance I had with a professional company. I'd come up through schools that were not attached to professional companies, so it was really my first experience like dancing with professional dancers, and it was really, really terrifying for one, but also just like really exciting. And it was, I think it was up in Sun City actually, and I performed Perkushnak. So it was also the first time I'd performed a Balanchine ballet, and it was just a really, really fun one. Your hair is down, it's wild. It was just a totally new experience for me. So, and it was really great to just be able to bring that to the community.
That's awesome. And it's really great to hear that you guys had such great bursts with this program, because I think so many people in the community have awesome first memories of their experience with Ballet Under the Stars as well. And then just to remind everyone who's watching, if you have questions for Kate or Ethan, please type them into the chat. We're looking at the stream in real time so we can see your questions, and I'll make sure to ask them. But moving forward, Ethan, for this program, it's unlike anything we do in our season, except for Desert Botanical Garden, but even that, it's not quite the same. What is it like to dance in the parks each year?
Every year it's a little bit different. Weather plays a big factor. Sometimes it rains on you and it gets a little spooky. But it's a lot of fun. There's a different energy to performing outside, and especially because we do all of the performances in different locations, it doesn't really get stale, because there's always new scenery. like I said, always a great crowd. Um, Grass, you know, parks. What else can I say? It's a lot of fun.
And Kate, for you, what is it like for you performing at the parks each year?
It's always a bit of a challenge, I would actually say, just because you have to prepare for these shows in a bit of a different way than we do for like a show that we have like at Symphony Hall or at the Orpheum, because you can't really set up your stuff. You're kind of doing your makeup in the car and getting dressed in tents, and it's just a totally like different experience that kind of puts you in a different headspace.
Oh no, it looks like you froze a little bit. It's the night of technical troubles. But we will come back to you, Kate. But Ethan, if we could move on to talking about our community engagement program, Class Act. That's something that we do every year in coordination with Ballet Under the Stars. That's something it's really unique, and it's really exciting opportunity for our local students to be a part of this program as well. For those of you who don't know what Class Act is, we partner with local schools in each of our performance cities, and we work with students there in the 3rd through 5th grade to teach them a little bit of classical ballet technique. They work directly with our professional dancers to choreograph a dance that they then perform on the Ballet Under the Stars stage in their city in front of the entire audience, their family and friends. So it's a really awesome introduction to ballet for these students. But Ethan, you've done Class Act before. You've participated with this program. What does that program do for students?
I mean, it does a lot. It's not going to teach them classical ballet in the month or so leading up to the show, but it's a lot of fun. We work with the kids. They get to choose from a selection of classical pieces that you would hear in a ballet. They get to choreograph their own dance. The dancers there helping them will give a little bit of input, kind of move things along if they need some help. But really, ultimately, it's up to them to put together their production. And then they get the great opportunity to come to one of the shows and perform on stage with us. And they invite their friends and family, and it's a lot of fun. It's a great night for everybody.
And Kate, can you tell us a little bit about what it's like to work with the kids on this program? I know it's a whirlwind of a program. It's 3 hours of instruction in class time and then a performance in front of thousands. So what is that like, mentoring and facilitating this opportunity for students?
Yeah, it's a super rewarding experience, I think. It's something that a lot of these kids have never seen before or experienced before. We always go into it kind of so it's very new to them. Did you lose me? Am I still here? Okay. Um, sorry about that. No, it's very new to them, and I think it's very exciting for them to perform on stage, especially. And there's always around.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kate, we lost you on the end of that one. There's always, that's where
I just said it's always inspiring all around for the kids on stage, and then the kids in the audience who get to watch kids who are their own age on stage. It's just a magical experience, I think, for them all.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a really cool experience for these kids who usually haven't had any sort of dance experience. They get to come into this with fresh perspective, and they get to meet professional artists who are working in this field, and to be on the stage with the dancers is really an amazing opportunity for them, because they can see, all of the hard work that goes into working with other students on a dance and performing and rehearsing, and then being out there with people doing it for their career is just so inspiring for them. So Ethan and Kate, I'll let you guys think about this question. What's your favorite part about Ballet Under the Stars? What do you enjoy the most about this program?
I think one of the things I enjoy the most, but is also the most difficult for the dancers, is that Ballet Arizona really treats this like the same as any other production we're doing. You know, the same amount of rehearsal, the same amount of time and effort is put into these shows, even though they're free and open to the public and done outside. You know, it's not in any sense, you know, thrown away, I guess, or deemed like less important than any of our other large productions that are in Symphony Hall and, you know, done for paying audiences. You know, it's a real show. It's you know, what you'd get to see on stage, and we've put a lot of time and effort into it, and I think that that's really special, you know.
Thank you for sharing that. Ethan, what do you enjoy about Ballet Under the Stars?
I think my favorite part of Ballet Under the Stars is the rep. We tend to always do something balancing for Ballet Under the Stars. For some reason, I don't know, maybe that's by design. I'm not in the back. I don't know how they choose. But I think the rep is always really fun. And I think it's because we're bringing it directly into the community. We want people to have a good time. So the rep is always exciting. Like Western Symphony, theme and variations, we did Rubies, we've done Walpurgisnacht, all balancing pieces that are all really, really fun. So I'd have to say the rep is the most fun part.
And that's a great segue to what we're going to talk about next. So this year we're doing something a little bit different. Normally we present 3 different smaller works at Ballet Under the Stars, and this year we're doing 2 slightly longer pieces. We have Mambas, which is choreographed by our own Nyan Iovino. He did this piece a few years ago as a celebration of Ballet Arizona and what it's like to be in the Ballet Arizona Dancer Corps. And then we also have George Balanchine's Stravinsky Violin Concerto, which is a Balanchine piece that's really exciting and energetic. And there's just so much to look at within that piece itself. Kate, can you tell us a little bit about Stravinsky Violin Concerto?
Yeah, it's a really great piece. I don't know that much history about it, I'm sorry, but the first time I got to perform it was last season. We did it in the Dorrance Theater. It's a very insanely difficult. And I say that very lightly because, you know, any type of balancing ballet, it's going to have nuances and technique that are very difficult, even if you're just doing something that looks very simple. But like stamina wise, it's not like theme and variations or Walpurgisnacht where we're, you know, dying and trying to catch our breath at the end. So it gives us the opportunity to, I think, bring a little bit more to the steps and more focus to the parts that we are on stage for. And I'm really excited that we're doing the entire piece for Ballet Under the Stars. If anyone was at our show that we did on Friday, the kickoff for the Juan Gabriel event, we just did the finale and the second pas de deux, but you'll get to see all of it at Ballet Under the Stars. So I'm really excited. It's a great piece, very interesting, very unconventional, I would say, as most ballet. Gorgeous, and the music is something else. So it's definitely one to watch.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's really beautiful, and I think audiences are going to really enjoy it. Ethan, can you tell us a little bit about Mambas and what can we expect from that piece?
Yeah, Mambas is a lot of fun. I would say the most fun part that I'm going to talk about that you won't get to see is that it's performed in full with a live band on stage. And we will have the live band for when we do our performances in the Dorrance in October. But for now, for Ballet Under the Stars, it would be far too difficult to have the live band on stage for that. So you won't get to see that, but the piece has a lot of character. It's very entertaining. I would say every section is a lot of fun. Yeah, lots of different characters involved that you get to see sort of going through the event. Essentially, how Nyan had described it to us is it's like a party, and you get to see all of the different kinds of people at the party. Some people get a little bit too drunk. You get to see the different kind of relationships that happen at the event, and the music is beautiful. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, this program is really going to give, I think, our audiences a flavor of Ballet Arizona's virtuosity and the way that our dancers are able to seamlessly transition from different styles of dancing, from contemporary dance to George Balanchine's really neoclassical stance. And then if you come beyond Ballet Under the Stars, you can see a little bit of our classical style as well with Romeo and Juliet in February. And so moving on, for people who aren't familiar with professional dance and the career that professional dancers have, Kate, can you tell us a little bit about what your day-to-day is like?
Yeah, I think most people don't realize it's kind of, in a sense, like a normal 9 to 5. We show up at 9, we leave at 4:30. Our schedule day to day changes depending on what we're working on, but we always start off the day with morning class, an hour and a half, just working through all the muscles of the body, all of the technique, getting ready for the day. Warming yourself up pretty much. And then after that, we go into rehearsals. Right now, Eve is rehearsing and choreographing before. The music is incredible. And that's always a long process, choreographing, just because, so he likes to start early. We're not performing that until much later in the season, but we're starting it now. So we have usually rehearsal with him first, and he choreographs, and then we'll go through whatever else we have that day. Today, I had a rehearsal for Mambas in our studio that we're actually performing it in. So we work on spacing, we work on technique, we run the ballet, get corrections, and then I had a rehearsal for Les Patineurs, which we are also doing in the Dorrance. And then I think that was it. And then tomorrow I'll have an entirely different set of rehearsals. So I go from Eve's choreographing rehearsal to Mambas to violin concerto we'll run tomorrow. And they kind of space it out. We don't rehearsing.
I think we might have lost you again, Kate. I'm sorry about that, but we did hear most of your day. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much my day, going through rehearsals. And then after that, whenever we have breaks, working out, stretching, working on choreography, hanging out with friends, eating snacks, just kind of normal what you do at work, I guess.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. It's really, it is really much like a 9 to 5 job. It's really physical, and it engages a lot more of your creative brain and your artistic brain. So thank you for sharing that with us. Ethan, can you give us a little insight about how dancers keep themselves ready creatively, artistically, and physically for every single day and for rehearsals and performances? What do you need to do to take care of yourself?
Oh gosh, there's so many things you have to do on any given day. Like Kate said, we have essentially our regular 9 to 5. You do all of your class rehearsals, any in your breaks, you work out, do whatever you can during the day, and then you go home, and essentially the job doesn't really stop. You have to take care of your body. You have to roll out your muscles, massaging stuff, icing, take a hot bath so that you can come in the next day and do it all over again. Um, eat lots and lots of food because our job is essentially to do cardio 40 hours a week. So you have to stay on top of your eating. I would say artistically, a lot of times you don't have time during the day to really break everything down in rehearsals. So a lot of times you'll go home, you'll review choreography, you'll listen to the music. You might do research on the piece that you're doing to find out what was the inspiration for the piece. How was it interpreted initially? How does that work in with your interpretation of the piece? Sort of going through it on more of just like a cerebral level so that you can go in the next day and you can up the performance aspect of it that much more. And all of that being said, sometimes you have to just go home and not think about anything because it is so physically, emotionally, and mentally demanding to be a professional artist. And sometimes you just have to get away because it's too much.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. It's always, I think, fascinating for people to hear how artists stay creative and stay artistic, because we don't think of that necessarily as a skill set that you have to work at and maintain. We sort of think of it as this inherent blessing that some people have and some people don't, but really it takes work to maintain that and to keep it growing and healthy. Nikiana says, what are you guys most excited to perform this season besides Ballet Under the Stars? So in our current rep that we are producing, Kate, what are you most excited to perform this year?
I'm really excited for the balancing program that we're doing, because that's one of my favorites every season. And also we're getting to do some of the things that we weren't able to do because of COVID. Brouillé Fantasque is one that we rehearsed, but we went into shutdown right before we were able to perform it. So I'm excited to revisit that. And then we're also doing Serenade, which I've never actually done the full ballet. I've only ever done first movement for studio spotlights or artist really fun stuff like that. So I'm excited to touch on the parts of that I haven't gotten to do either.
Thanks, Kate. And Ethan, what are you most excited to perform this season?
I think I'm most excited for Romeo and Juliet. That's a long ways away. We have a lot of work to do before we get there, so I'm sort of on the back burner. But I really like Eve's choreography for Romeo and Juliet, and it's been quite a while since we did it. And the last time I did it, I was in my infancy, if you will, as far as like artistic development goes. So I'm excited to revisit that one and come at it from a new angle with all of my new knowledge that I have.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I'm excited for both of those things. I think you guys we have a great season ahead of us. We have some really exciting pieces on our bill, and I think this entire season is something to watch if you haven't been to the ballet, or even if you have. We have a really great selection this year. To close out today, I just wanted to ask you both if you might give us some thoughts about, for people who are on the fence about whether or not they would enjoy ballet or whether or not they should come to Ballet Under the Stars. What would you give them for advice? What would your words of advice be?
I would say that ballet is really for everyone. You can't really say like, oh, I'm not a fan of ballet or I don't like ballet, because ballet is so broad. It's not necessarily for like this elite kind of community either, which sometimes we get into that mentality. Like it's for anyone and everyone who wants to enjoy it. So and we're out there dancing for you guys. That's why we do this, so anyone who even might possibly just be open to the idea of enjoying what we do, that's who we're there for. That's who we're up on stage for. So come out.
Thank you, Kate. Ethan, any words of advice for people who might be on the fence or wondering what the experience might be?
Yeah, I think it's ballet is a lot of fun, and like Kate was saying, ballet is very broad. There's I feel like when you think about ballet, you think about the huge like classics. You have your Swan Lake, your Sleeping Beauties, your La Bayadere. People think of that kind of stuff primarily. But in this day and age, there's all kinds of ballet, and there's all kinds of dance and themes that exist inside of what we do as a classical ballet company. I feel like that's pretty well represented with the rep that we're doing for Ballet Under the Stars. You have something that's, like you said, very neoclassical, the Balanchine, and then you also have something that's more contemporary, sort of lighter, more fun in Mampas. And I feel like out of in those two, you can definitely find something that you like in both of them. And I feel like this is a great rep to come to because they're both very entertaining pieces, and I think that you would be hard pressed to find somebody who absolutely hated it like completely. So if you're on the fence about it, just go for it. It's a good time.
Thanks, Ethan. And yeah, I'll just leave you all with, if you haven't been to this program before, please come out. It's free. It's in the park. There's none of the traditional, rules of the theater that apply here. So it's a very, very low key, casual atmosphere to try something new. So before we go, I just want to let you know what the schedule is. Next week, we are going to be starting on Wednesday, September 29th. We'll be at Fountain Park in Fountain Hills. On Thursday, September 30th, we'll be at Sahuaro Ranch Historic Park in Glendale. On Friday, October 1st, we'll be at Estrella Lakeside Amphitheater in Goodyear. And Saturday, October 2nd, we'll be at Steele Indian School Park in Phoenix. All of our performances will begin at 7 p.m. and all of them are free. And just to close out here, I'd like to just say thank you so much to our sponsors, APS, BMO Stoker Osler, Shamrock Farms, Grand Canyon University, Phoenix Office of Arts and Culture, National Endowment for the Arts, Estrella by Newland, City of Goodyear, City of Glendale, and the Town of Fountain Hills. Without these sponsors, this program would not be possible, and we are so grateful for theirs and our community's support for this program each year. So thank you all. We will see you at Ballet Under the Stars next week. So thank you for Kate and Ethan for being here tonight, and we'll see you next week.